It's going. Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I'm a social recruiting trainer and speaker. I'm of course joined by the blab cat owning Audra Knight, who's an employer branding genius. I'm not going to go into cast for knowledge or background. Today, Audra is going to introduce our guest because his job title's like this and I just can't cope with it on a Friday afternoon. Audra, over to you.
Sure. So I actually first kind of met James on it was a Twitter chat back in like probably 2 years ago. It was called, It's now called Work Trends, and it's still going. It's still a great chat. But I remember seeing his tweets and I was like, oh, these are pretty interesting. Out of the box. They were noticeable. I was like, I'm going to have to pay attention to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. And then, so that was a few years ago. And then I started, really your podcast pulled me in. It's my favorite podcast. Really love your thoughts because, again, they're different. They're not the same old crap everyone's talking about. And I like the marketing background side. So I'm a big fan. But for people that don't know kind of the work you've done and how you, believe you started in marketing, but you let us know. Give us a little bit of a background. That'd be great, James.
Well, there's no way I can actually beat that introduction. That's terrifying. Best podcast the way. I can't. No. Anyway, good night, folks. We're done. So yeah, I'm a marketer by birth. I think more than anything else, I've been a marketer no matter what I did. Even when I was a web guy, I was always the most marketing of the web guys. I was the one saying, yeah, you need a website, but to do what? What are you trying to achieve with that website? Not just about, look, I put my brochure up. Congratulations. And I'm old, so I remember when the internet was like, we need a brochure site. So that's always been my focus. And it's done everything from software marketing and nonprofit marketing and B2B marketing and B2C marketing and pharmaceutical marketing and event marketing. And I kind of, like all other people in the recruitment space, backed into the recruitment side of things. No one ever goes to school for recruitment. That's the story everybody heard, right? Like,
and I didn't realize how.
Exactly. So that's really recruitment marketing. I've done agency time and now I'm on the inside. So just focusing on employer brand. That's a very long.
When you say agency, you mean marketing agency, right?
But recruitment marketing solely. Yeah. I mean, I've done other agencies.
Just because I think agency, I think recruitment agency, right? So I've got to always think, no.
There's more of those agencies that are really specific to recruitment marketing now. That's a definite change I've seen over the past 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of tiny little niche firms trying to figure out that there's a lot of not only money to be had, but a lot of good work to be done. And I think historically, recruitment marketing always goes, well, we're always 2 years behind the curve. So we'll just watch what everybody else does, count to a bajillion, and then we'll do what they did. And it's like, no, it's time to step up. It's time to get a lot closer to that cutting edge and really try new things.
Yeah. I've got into the dark again.
You did. Wow.
I know. Ghost Katrina here. They really love her over here. Apparently wicked smart, according to James.
You've got a lot of fans on the side here.
Angie thinks you're a rock star. I think your head's swelling, actually.
Hold on. No, it's not. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Oh, no. That's right. In-camera tricks. That's what it is. No, all these people I owe money. So that's really what it all is.
That's okay. So where should we start? There's so much to talk about when it comes to employer brand. Katrina, what about the question we were talking about before? How you were kind of questioning.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So considering I have no idea whether this is a question you messaged me or the question you asked me for. I'm so in the dark. I am here. We have sun here in London. This is what happens, people. I disappear into the dark. I'm going to go with the one you messaged me. Oh, I'm coming back. Here I am.
No, the one you had about, whether we should just be sourcing and do we even need employer brand. I thought that was a great way to start.
Oh, no. No, that wasn't quite what I was saying. So sorry, guys, we're just being a bit potty because it's Friday afternoon. We were talking about, because I'm a little bit of a non-believer in employer branding because I think there's too much polished PR bullshit going around. So we were having a whole conversation about that. There's no question in there. So, but would you have any top tips for anyone who has polished PR bullshit on their website then?
Yeah, don't do that.
There's a question.
No stock photos, right?
Stop. So my theory is that I've worked at many, many places. I've been to many, many workplaces, and I've seen many websites, and everybody on a website is always, right? I mean, it's
high five.
Yeah. Oh, they come on the video and they go, I really love working here. And you're like, no, you don't. I can tell you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go to the website, either they go to the actual workspace. It's like, well, people are frowning because they're in the middle of doing the job and they're focused on a thing. And, there are not enough furrowed brows in the website. It's like this. And frankly, you're doing a great job when you've got that furrowed brow and you're in that zone and you're trying to make that thing happen. That to me is like the magic. It's like everybody wants to have fun at work and like, what do you got? Throw cream pies at people? It's like, no, this is fun to me. Figuring that out. That is legitimate fun. So I think that, throw all the polished bullshit out. It's too easy. I've actually legitimately, when I was in my agency days, not 2 years ago, I found an insurance website and I did their competitor, analysis, and I found the exact same on their site too. I was like, so from a differentiation position,
God, that's terrible.
Not good. No, try again.
I had one of my clients had a whole load of photos taken, and it was actually of their staff, but they got all their beautiful staff together, so it looked like stock photos, like all their normal, all the normal people were over here. It was so
that's
funny.
The problem. Photographers think stock photos are like the penultimate, or the greatest platonic ideal of what a great picture should be. It's like, no, a great picture can be taken with one of these tiny little supercomputers in their pocket. It's like, did it really happen? And is it goofy? Is it fun? Is it real? Is that who you guys are? Do it. That's the picture.
I'm actually really excited. Next week at ERE Fall, I'm showing a video, which sadly isn't on the Met Police's website, but it so should be. And it's called The Job. And it starts with, the job is being spat on by those you're helping and those you're not. The job is you don't leave it at work. The job is doing too much paperwork. The job is prosecution's not happening. The job is wearing a stab. And you're kind of going, oh my God, could we have more of that? It is a highly polished video with real people though. But you're like, we need more of that. Because I couldn't find another example that I believed. Was the only one where I went, oh my God, I believe this. It makes me cry, because it even talks about someone dying. And you're just like, okay, well, that's going to put people off from working there. Yeah.
I mean, Glassdoor will tell you, their statistics show that negative reviews actually support a positive outlook, a more believability, and more authenticity on that, connected to that brand. So, if I told you nothing but good things about me, you'd go, yeah, but do you kick puppies? What's the deal? And the answer is no, I don't kick puppies. I have many other things.
Bad, though.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't even think you have a Boston accent.
Jackie has a Texas accent.
Texas accent. Goodness, I did 6 years there, and no.
Y'all.
I say y'all, and that's as far, and howdy, and that's as far as that goes, kids. Come on.
She's gone. Where's she gone? Yeah, it's really funny because all the Texans down the side are all jumping on me. Y'all be nice.
But back to the stock photo. I think the whole fear is like, what if an employee leaves? Oh my gosh, we can't keep it up there. Right?
Yeah. So my theory is that, look, the fact that the person said it, the fact that that person was working there, it was true in the moment. That doesn't mean it dissipated just because they left. I mean, the band breaks up doesn't mean the music isn't still awesome. Yeah. It's still not true. It's still true. It's still what you're meaning.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that companies always want to scrub. I mean, if they embezzled or if they did something, if you pulled a full-on Harvey Weinstein, oh yeah, scrub. But beyond that, if they left because they just went to you should be proud of your alumni. You should be said, look, this is the kind of people we engender and support and grow. And by the way, boomerangs are a thing. Come on, they're going to be back. Yeah, they're going to be back because we're a great employer. The cojones to say we're a great employer, willing to come back. That's true authenticity.
There's another. There's a pic I'm showing which you'd love, a real photo. Instagram welcome pack, like first day desks and all of that. It's someone at CO Technologies, and she's coming back. She's so excited. She's coming back to her family. She wrote to my family, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, you can't buy that shit. It's just
but the employer brand exists in those tiny little moments, not in some brochure or not in some brand guideline binder that sits on a desk. It's in the granular moments. A brand, a pattern. It's all about a pattern. So a brand is just that repeated pattern. The reason why you love your iPhone or your Mac or your whatever the heck it is. And I didn't. Sorry, I have to go full on Apple there. If that was weird.
No,
your Nikes, yeah, exactly. Your Nikes, your BMWs, your Toyotas, whatever. You love them because every time you touch them, you feel good about it, and that's what a brand is. You feel good about it because of those repeated touches.
I take that back. I don't like the USB-C socket in my brand spanking new MacBook. No, I object.
To completely buy that.
Yeah, it's like cost me hundreds of pounds in adapters, but other than that, it's all good. Mr. Gladhill, who I don't know if you've come across Ben Gladhill, but you two need to know each other. You do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Brand new site launching next month. Sell. We use a wedding photographer for a job. What? Unique human moments. Baby. Okay, that was in Yorkshire accent. I have no idea what he's saying.
I know. He's typing that from the pub, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It probably is. Are you talking from the pub again over beer? So, wedding photographer.
That's an interesting.
It's a sideline.
Do they put the nice soft edges all around the photos?
Yeah, exactly. How much Vaseline can you put on a lens? Yeah. Do all the employees do this? Looking wistfully into the sunset. I want to look wistfully in the sunset with everyone.
Yeah, come on, Ben. We need an answer to that, please.
Where's my paycheck?
Audra, I want you to answer the question you messaged me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to talk about, career sites in general, because I really liked your episode on saying that they all stink, which I think has some valid points. But also the fact, people are coming in from other Google or Indeed or whatever million other sites. Are they even seeing it? So I like the idea of really working on the job description pages, right? Because that's where more people are going to see.
Action is. Yeah, that's where the action. I mean, so a million years ago, I was working for a state government in Wisconsin. I'm not going to say which part of it, and they were redesigning their website. And everybody in the room, and as begets all state government employees, they brought everybody in a room, and they all had an opinion. And they were fighting over the website, a homepage, this design, this font, this color, and I was off in the corner working on the actual template for all the other pages. And they said, James, do you have any input? I said, no, you guys fight over there. I'm going to fight on the stuff that 99% of people actually see and care about. And you do whatever the ego tells you to do. Go nuts. I'm over here where the real action is. Yeah. And so that to me has always been, and you look at the analytics of most career sites, like 80% of traffic never sees the homepage. And yet you're politically fighting over which picture gets up front. And, is there enough diversity of a thing that no one sees? It's like, just be authentic inside the place and be, the job description, write it better and, use better tools to write it and capture it and understand understand the difference between the legal document that is the job description and the marketing document that is the job posting, and either create enough separation that you're not confusing the two or learn where the lines are in the legal document and then figure how to annotate the marketing piece onto it. So I have these conversations where like, look, legally, we have to say X, Y, and Z. And you're like, great, good. You have to say that. And okay, that's real. But if you start with an amazing title, not like software developer, but more like blowing the earth up one line of code at a time or something. I literally made that up.
What about SEO?
Hold on. That's all true. But the actual job title is going to be there anyway, right? Is there an ATS that doesn't spit that out and pull in a career site or a recruitment marketing platform or whatever that doesn't grab that? But it's the line below that says, yes, there are a million openings for software developers or project managers or product managers or sales associate or pick it. I mean, and honestly, you can see like I did a thing where I looked at Google's project manager job description and American Standards job description for a project manager, and they're like 90% the same. I'm like, well, if I saw the job description and I couldn't see the logo, which would I apply for? And you're like, these are radically different work experiences. I mean, radically different. Wow, so, okay, you have to make that job description be of yourself, beyond the logo, beyond all the, and if you're Google, you get the gift of the Google logo, but you spell it out, give some passion, give them marketing, and passion, if that's what you're about. If you're, drawing accountants and you're like, we find the nerdiness in the most insane things, be that nerd. I mean, own that nerdiness. And that's really, and that has to be, show itself in the job description. Like we talked about, it's in the moments everywhere. And you have to establish and create and maintain that pattern on every piece of anything you have.
So Angie asks a great question, which I was also going to say, like, what do you think of video? So I quite like video job description if you can make them short and not boring. What's the name? Maura Spark Hire. What is it? Spark Hire. I love those. They're the quick little videos, aren't they? Yeah. They're quite clever. She started really early.
Yeah. And there are a couple of others that do that stuff. And right now it's getting so, there's exactly. A bunch of companies who are getting into that. The question is, it's how do you get it so that, first off, Google doesn't understand that stuff, and how do you search on that stuff? And I get that it's a great kind of marketing capstone, but you have to support it with good marketing copy and good job description copy below that. I think you're right. A video description that is more than 60 seconds, you're trying too hard. Yeah. It's got to be about, look, the legal stuff is already below you. Don't try and be the legal stuff in the job description. Be snappy and emotional and grab you by the lapels and shake you around as best you can on an emotional level. And that's what's going to make me go, oh, but this is a company that's doing something different. And then I'll be more inclined to read the rest and interpret it in the way, read between the lines the way you want me to, and not, the way I would.
I guess the legal thing must be much more of a US thing, because we don't get so concerned. We just always seem to start with our company is so exciting and come and join us and we want you to have these skills. It's like, well, how about what they're getting?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. Too much of it's avoiding the what's in it for me. And it's,
which
the assumption that when you get paid,
so you've got their attention, that's all they're thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Michael's comment a bit further up. Michael Cox, I give two shits about the pics on our marketing team uses on our job site, but they aren't allowed to touch my job ads. No.
That's a comment that smells like of the trenches. That's had some fights, you can tell.
But it's right.
I think ATSs, a lot of them make it tricky though for photos and for videos. All of that can be a little bit challenging if you don't have a good.
Yeah, and it's tough because then you ask, recruitment marketing platforms, which are not cheap at all, to be the layer on top of that to manage all that stuff, which when they do it well can do a good job, but not cheap by any stretch.
When you think about it, in such a short period of time, like you were saying, you remember the internet's kind of starting, and I certainly was pre-internet. That we've come a long way in a really short period of time. So like you still can't attach a freaking CV or resume, as you guys call it, to an application. So, you've got to go to it and send it that way. And it's the same with wanting to put the video or the photo into the job ad.
Yeah.
The ATSs still haven't caught up with us still.
No. Yeah. And the ATS, yeah, but ATSs are they all look like they were coded in 1987, and I think most of them were originally coded in 87. They just said, "Oh, look, HTTP, we're web-based. Congratulations to ourselves." And no, it doesn't work that way.
Well, people actually coding
modern.
No, I'm kidding.
Even the modern ones that are supposed to be, web-enabled and mobile-enabled, it's still based on this structure of. Well, I mean, let's be fair. You won't buy an ATS unless it actually does the stuff your HR team and your recruiting team thinks they have to do. So so it becomes a chicken and egg situation. Who changes first, the ATS? And if you won't buy it, if it doesn't do the things you think it has to do, or the HR talent acquisition space who are doing whatever the ATS tells them to do. So it becomes this kind of cyclical, it feeds on itself, which is really a snake eating its own tail, so to speak.
But the worst is the ATS expands into then it's a right mess.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's the small companies who are going to do things the wrong way that are going to be able to succeed and try new things. I talk to companies, because I get to work with I have worked with big companies, and I do work with big companies. Everybody's like, well, what do I do if I'm small? I'm like, you win. You have so much flexibility. The world is your oyster, and all you need is a set of Google Docs and a little website and WordPress install, which is free. Go crazy, and you are going to be able to. The best job descriptions I've ever read have always been from companies smaller than 200 people, hands down, because they know who they are. And they're not trying to kowtow to some committee or some CEO they haven't met or whoever is going. It's no politics involved. It's I know what I'm trying to hire. Here's what I'm trying to get.
I loved it when I was in house because I worked in a really small company and I had full control of the whole thing. Yeah, so none of that. I did what I wanted.
Yeah,
less
too many
processes.
People everybody's too busy to get in your way.
I was just too busy getting in, finding the people, getting them on board, and I could do what I wanted. And if it was send a photo to one person and a video to someone else, it was just, they are the companies I love working with. I mean, a bit like Michael's written here, now I'm too old and couldn't work in a large company that would tell me what to do in any aspect of recruiting. I mean, I get that. Like, can we just get in and do the job already?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too many layers of, but then you have the sue culture much more than we have it here. Like, you're very quick to sue each other. So
that's also true, and that's really why the legal part is there. Because if you if you say you have to be able to lift 30 pounds and the person breaks a leg and can't do the job, and you fire them, you have to you presumably you would want to place them someplace else. Yeah. But if you have to let them go, you say, look, this job requires this, and if you are no longer able to perform this function, this isn't we don't like you. This is okay, and that's where it's and there is a cover your butt kind of situation there.
Lots of it, yeah. But speaking of small companies, do you think they could survive either now or in the future with just a Facebook page? Because I see a lot of businesses that are small that just have a Facebook page. What do you think about that? Do you need that?
I think there's a lot of so if you listen to the Exponent podcast, it's probably my favorite smart podcast, straight up smart business podcast. The owner of it lives in Taiwan, and so he's talking a lot about the front lines of what's happening in Asia, and they're finding a lot of business live on WeChat and Facebook because they don't need anything else. That they skipped over the days of having a laptop and a desktop and having a desktop experience and a big old browser and a mouse that you could move in places to do things. They went straight to the supercomputer pocket thing, and they went, okay, what's the most lean and mean way to do it? And it went straight social media. So but that works because everybody does it. I mean, WeChat will do financial transactions with QR codes in the app. You just flip it, turn it on, scan each other's phone, and boom, I just gave you $25 for whatever the heck it was I bought. Facebook's nowhere near that, but frankly, would you want that? But so do you live just in Facebook? you could give it a shot. And if you decided, if your company's all about social media, go eat your own dog food, be on social media, live on social media. If you're a 20-person pipe manufacturing facility, I'm making stuff up. Should you? I don't know, maybe. And Facebook's definitely putting a lot of, money into that, small business, make it easy to apply via Messenger thing, which has its pros and cons. I'm working with companies that have ATSs, in which point that is really more of a pain than a blessing.
But it's also that whole, the page visibility is so incredibly low. So unless you're going to pay to play, it's never going to be free.
Oh yeah, you're always, and that's the thing.
So maybe it's easier just to build a quick WordPress site.
So most companies get to think about things in a multi-year basis. They say, okay, we're going to invest early this year on a ATS and a website and a thing and a thing and a thing. And then your unit cost down the road is super, super small, right? Each person who applies is effectively free. However, if you're a small business and you don't have any infrastructure because you can't afford to build any, because you're moving from 2 to 3 people or from 5 to 6 people, you do it unit by unit cost, which means I just need to push that job out there. I'm going to put it on Indeed. I'm going to put it on all these places, pay to play for that moment because I have no presence otherwise. But if you're a 6-person company or a 20-person company, do you think anybody shows up to your website just to see what's going on? No, of course not. So, I would bet you can make either strategy work, but you really have to buy in all the way in one way or the other. Yeah. But Facebook makes it really expensive.
Well, the ads I find in general are cheap compared to job board postings and things.
They're cheap compared to that and LinkedIn. Yeah. But if you're in that really tiny space and you're thinking of using that instead, which is I think what your question was, that it would be it could be expensive.
If you're smart. The nice thing about Facebook is that their targeting tools are so unbelievably, insanely detailed. And you're smart enough to say, look, let's say you're in Cleveland, Ohio, not to pick on Cleveland or anything. They just lost a baseball game yesterday or the other day. I'm not a baseball guy. If you try and blanket all of Cleveland with a message that says, we're looking for someone who's a painter. We're looking for someone who knows how to do accounting. Facebook's going to bleed you dry. They're going to charge you 20 cents a click for the rest of your life. You won't believe the size of the ad. Or, you'll be smart and bracket it at $50 and you'll be like, you reach nobody you wanted to reach. But if you layer and layer and layer some super hyper targeting tools and say, look, I'm only going to reach 20 people, but those are legitimately the 20 people I have to reach, then you're golden. And I think you can be smart about it. I just think
didn't they just take away a load of filters?
How many people should I hit?
Did you hear about that, James? I think a few weeks ago, they took away the most important targeting for us. They took away your job title, your company title, which was only for bigger ones, but that was still useful for competitors. I loved it. And there was another massive one that was like classic for recruiters that you'd want. But job title, that was what I was using.
Because they want people to use the jobs post, which we've already established as stupid, and to promote it, and they want to get away from that thing where you can just promote it at women or just at men or just at transgender or just at whatever, which you can do on the other side. You can't do the jobs.
The story was that it was totally something to do with political. I'll send you the article. It was nothing to do with recruitment at all. It was just that people were using those in inappropriate ways politically is the story. But who knows what's really the truth. Like, it made me so sad.
They're killing the dark post and all that stuff. But it actually, taking away the job title would be crazy because they're trying to get people to pay to push their job ad at certain people. You definitely want to use via job targeting. So clearly they're cleaning house on some level. And like all big companies, they're over cleaning and overcompensating and taking away good features that we would really want.
Really stunk. Company was awesome. If you hear about like a company that was having layoffs, you could target the employees. It was brilliant. And it was cheap, like in general, as long as you do the targeting right.
Yeah, exactly. What now? You're going to do Snapchat and kind of geo-fence that office building?
That's surprisingly expensive. We looked into that for an event.
Really?
And they wanted like $10K for like 6 hours of a filter that we created. The filter.
In Manhattan? Were you doing Manhattan?
It was during a big event, so maybe they were just hiking it up for the event. But
I can usually throw a geofence around like a conference for about $10 for 5 hours. So
you mean you create your own filter and give them the filter?
Yeah, I just make my filter and I just target the building. So I'm trying to make sure that everybody at ERE knows about my podcast. I go, boop, there's the building. I throw it on the first 5 hours that I think people might actually Snapchat, and of course, Snapchat still has a fairly low, connection with people, and people not, especially older than 28, people aren't using it as much.
I think they were, and then along came Instagram stories.
Instagram, we killed it.
But the kids, of course, are using it for the streaks, aren't they? I mean, I was listening to these 2 kids on the train, and they were saying, oh my God, we have to keep talking. We're nearly at 2 years of a streak. And I'm just like,
I don't even know what that is.
You know how it starts showing the number? If you and I were to message every single day on there, rather than on every other platform that's way easier, it would give you a streak. You start getting a number of how many days. That's how you get like your best friends on there and all this kind of crap.
Yeah.
So, good for them gamifying it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Paige has written here. Hello, Paige. I've never spent more than $20 on a filter for a huge convention center. Yeah. I think they saw you coming and went, ka-ching.
Yeah, it was like 10 grand for one day.
Are you doing Times Square, middle of the day, New Year's Eve? What are you doing?
I'm going to have to look back at that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, Jackie. Oh, my God. Hannah hates it when I break streaks. So she has streaks with her daughter. How cute is that?
Perfect to gamify it. Good for them.
Yep.
What other social media do you use with your employment branding now? Like Instagram, Twitter? What do you
right now, I think Instagram is the number one. I think in terms of brand, if you're trying to activate somebody, no. If you're trying to transact, no. But if you're trying to establish a brand and feed that pattern and the statistics and the stat and the science on how visual is far more important than words makes it super clear. But you have to but it's a perpetual thing. You have to kind of invest and buy into and say every 2 days, boom, every 2 days, boom, every 2 days. And they have to align, not necessarily with, I don't know, people get stickly about, have to have a certain number of people or they have to abide by certain rules. I'm like, look, everybody has different phones and you're gonna have slightly different quality and slightly different viewpoints. And that's great. You want to identify and support the different, voices in your company. Just have some very loose guidelines and you're good to go.
Again, I hate the polished PR ones that still pop up.
Yeah, but
one of my favorite companies who will remain nameless, who usually do really good stuff in this space. They're all too polished.
I think I know who you mean. I'm glad you don't want to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to name drop. Because they're really, really gorgeous. It's like, could we go back to when it was a bit more real? It's a bit too polished.
Yeah.
But actually, I think they're going to kill Instagram because the way the feed is being delivered is really, really annoying. So I can go on there and I'm seeing photos from 2 days ago. And not the stuff that got posted 10 minutes ago. And I'm going, no, hang on. I like my normal just order flick through. Stop that.
Yeah.
So, LZ, I actually don't know if you say Fury or not. Anyway, we'll go with Fury. Do you target the Instagram market through Facebook as well?
Yeah, you can use the same set of tools. It's the same kind of people. And frankly, you want to not spend too much money. You just want to keep activating the people who have raised their hand to say, yeah, I'd like to be kept warm. I'd like to kind of be involved in this thing. And not, pushing every time to hit 10,000 people.
Oh, 45, you're 60 like that. Okay, 40, sorry.
For Facebook ads, though, if I do it just right, I can actually get applications and potentially hires. Yeah. Where with Instagram, I'm sure there's a way, but it's a little for sure trickier. So how do you justify that time spent to like higher ups? You could say brand awareness, but
the brand awareness is the blanket that covers many, many sins, right? I'm on looking at YouTube cat videos. Brand awareness, baby. It's like that's what I'm doing. It's like whatever. Took a day off. Brand awareness.
I just think if you just do that thing like all the companies are doing with the corporate hashtags, when they can get their people bought in.
Yeah.
So I'm also using Carbon Black as an example, and actually you'd love this photo, James, because it's literally a guy who doesn't even say in his bio what he does. He's certainly in the tech space, and it's just a photo of him at his stand-up desk with his dog at his feet. You can see the groovy carpet. So you can see they care about him enough to give him a stand-up desk. You can see what he's wearing to work. You can see the atmosphere, and you can see he can bring his dog to work. It says so much in this crappy little photo. And all he's done is use the hashtag life at CB.
Yep.
So it's like if people know to look for those, you can add the stream onto your employer branding site or wherever else.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to.
Yeah. So
I'm such a fan of those. Sorry.
Yeah, no, they're great. And that's the trick is that if you go to your average employee at your average size company and say, hey, we want you to be more involved in employer brand, they're going to look at you like a dog being shown a card trick. They won't understand what it is. No. Or worse yet, they'll have this a sense of, oh, so you want me to wear the t-shirt with the thing and just take my picture of doing the thing and doing the thing. It's like, no, be you and provide some guidelines and say, look, that a good employer brand has a couple of pillars that says this is how we're thinking about the employer brand. It's about, we're all here because we're smart people. We're all here because of this and this and this. Show off one or two of those in the way you would show it off. And because the employer brand is always so vague, it's to be, almost impossible to understand. But the pillars really make it more concrete. So if you can explain the pillars to everybody and say, look, when you take that picture, connect it in your mind to one of these. Show off and, show, don't tell, right? Show one of these pillars in your world, then throw the hashtag on it, and we're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gold if you can get that, but it's challenging, especially in my industry, cybersecurity. They're like, our Twitter profiles are like mysteries. I don't know. It's more of a challenge for sure.
Yeah, so you're not doing a lot of photo shoots in the server centers, and they say, hey,
with the screens in show.
Yeah,
definitely makes things a little more challenging, but it depends on the department.
Yeah, come copy our code.
But the truth is, in your company, it's like, is the fact that you get to work with those servers the reason why anybody would work there? It's the other stuff. It's I always go back to coffee because I'm a coffee drinker, and those of you who listen to my podcast understand that I live and die for coffee.
I hope you don't mean Starbucks when you say that. Okay, thank God.
Starbucks is just fine. It's just fine. Oh, recruiting animal. Ouch, that hurt. No.
Didn't know you were there.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
All right, great.
You know what they say about bald men?
Not in this podcast or not in this video.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
I'm fantastic. But the truth is, but honestly, I go back to coffee because if you were a company that says, look, we care so much about our coffee that we have, it's locally sourced and local, and we have a roaster right around the corner, and we have a deal with them, and they're always bringing coffee, and you're thinking that's so small ball, that's so kind of who cares? Like, oh, really? Because people like me be like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to know more.
I like that with food trucks.
Oh, that's a winner. Yeah, that's a great one. But it's because you got to remember that recruiting is not about getting everybody aware. It's about getting like 1% or 0.1 or 0.0001% of the population who could work for you to get so desperately in love with you that if you hid the apply button, they'd be like, get out of my way. How do I apply? I'm sending you a picture. How do I get there? How do I make it happen? That's what you want. But instead we all fall back to, but I need 400 applicants.
Yeah, the video that attracts everyone.
Oh, so nothing.
And I think it's not making assumptions, isn't it, as well? So I was, again, having said debate with our non-showing millennial Blake on previous show yesterday, and I was talking about, like, why don't we actually start with a phone call? Because people will choose to answer or not answer, and those that like answering the phone, like those that like coffee and don't like tea, might answer. It's like, and he goes, oh, I never answer my phone. I'm going, yeah, but you're one person.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Everyone will go, okay, the whole world doesn't like answering phones because Blake doesn't like answering his phone. It's like, no, you got to try different things, right? And muck it around.
Yeah, and you want to tailor your message to the person. I mean, there are plenty of companies that spend 5, 6, 7,000.
Oh, no. Hello, where'd he go? He's frozen.
That never happens.
They spend thousands, and they're just like.
It never happens.
He's completely frozen. He's doing it on purpose.
Maybe he ran out of coffee.
Did he run out of coffee? Someone did ask a question and I haven't seen it.
Well, at least it's not a bad picture. That's the worst when it freezes and you're in a really awesome
I know, he looks handsome. So I think we tried using geo-targeting on Waze. I tried it. It targeted the building, one of our big competitors. So I didn't even notice that question, Michael. Yeah, Waze is the map app. Now, what do I do? Do I kick him off and invite him back in? Let's try that.
Yeah, try that.
Oh, no, that's closed video.
This has never happened before.
No. It says he's here. I'm just going to remove him. Oh, I feel awful. Screen, yes. I'm inviting him again. Invited a few seconds ago. Well, ain't even looking. Yeah, whenever you stop an ad.
How does it work in Waze? Interesting.
So anytime you stop, oh, Jackie, you've got us though. It's not like you've been completely deserted.
Oh God.
Invited.
No, animal, I cannot.
Yes. He's back.
Hey, that was weird.
Yeah, that was very weird.
But it was actually a really good freeze as opposed to one of those ones where you're like, so you got to, companies that spend thousands.
Yeah, what they need to do is buy a plane ticket and put a cake in the recruiter's hands and fly them to the person's house and say, hey, can I have a conversation with you? It's cheaper and you're getting far better results. I mean, if you treat it like a real focus sales, which is really what recruiting really is, why not do that?
I also think sometimes, because like you said the word message and it just made me think of that. So to me, a message is me either direct messaging you, telephoning you, emailing you, like actually having an correspondence. Whereas of course then there's marketing messaging. So I think sometimes when recruiters sit down with marketers, they lose each other in all their different versions of the word. And kind of like, no, what I mean is to send a message to you, not messaging as in the branding you're putting out there. And of course, recruiters don't want to hear personal brand. They much more understand look like somebody worth talking to. They get that. They don't get marketing speak. They've not done marketing. So
that's a good point. That's why I think it's great if you can have a marketing person on the team, because then you can kind of work together to
recruitment.
Yeah. And so few companies have marketers or liaisons to marketing, even though they're effectively doing the similar kind of things. The skills, not perfectly, but they can be translated. The tools can be translated. Though I would always kind of asterisk that by saying marketing is always about getting the biggest possible audience, and recruiting is about getting the one person. It's a slightly different thing. But otherwise, the rules are the same. The tools are often the same.
What I like that I'm starting to see is,
unfortunately, we're having a whole side conversation about your
don't
logo.
talk about it. But I like that
to talk about that later. We'll have a direct message conversation on Messenger in private about that. Okay.
But it's so cool to see bigger companies, if they can afford it, to have like a copywriter on their recruitment team, or a videographer or a photographer. I love when it's not going to happen for everyone, but if you can do it, I think that's so useful. And also just what do you do?
Good.
Just that it's so funny to see the connection when there's a recruitment team and then there's marketing, and they're like scared of each other and they never talk. That's such a big challenge for so many companies.
But that happens with like HR and the business. So if recruitment falls in HR and they don't talk to the business, and then you get the same thing. Or the HR put it out to agencies. One of the agencies talk to the business, so you get all of that happening then as well.
And that's expensive. And the truth is, as good as agencies can be at applying specific skills at a specific need, leaning on them as true business partners is a great way to kind of spend a lot of money to get not a lot of return. They simply aren't you. And, I remember days when you're like, well, how many people are on this meeting? What's their average salary? And what exactly did we just bill the client for in this half-hour meeting where almost nothing got decided? But that's how agencies kind of think. That's how they have to, they're structured. It's not their fault. It's just that that's how they work. Whereas in a company, if it's in-house, you always have the best and brightest every single time at every single skill set. No, but there's a different advantage to it. So if you have the money, it's great to spend it. But if you don't, there's a different way to do it. And I think having an in-house videographer over having to farm it out to a video team someplace else, and they come in and they say, who are you and what are we doing? Great, I'll just shoot this stuff. And they never quite get the right feel. They never, which is why employer brand ends up being so polished, because they're building something that meets certain regulations that your 70 people who approved the brief decided on. It was very limiting, and they polished it up because they didn't know how to get authentic, because they don't know who the hell you are. And so consequently you get whatever the version of stock photos is of employer brand video. So that's why you focus on the people, focus on what they really do. And if they drink coffee, if they drink wine, or if they party all night, if they don't show up till noon or whatever, I don't know what they
celebrate
do.
It.
You're exactly. Be that thing. Be that thing.
Mike, I'm sorry, I was going to give Mike's question out. Go, Audra, go.
I think exactly like you do, that if you can have it internally, awesome. But Katrina Kibben was on our show, and she completely made me think another way that I'd never thought before, that she said in some ways she thinks it's better for someone to come in from the outside and to do the research, because I'm so stuck in my spot in recruitment that I might actually be wrong, completely wrong. And so in some ways I could see both sides, and I hadn't before.
No, and that's a really smart point, because if you go to everybody and say, how is our company better than other companies? What's their frame of reference? The 2 or 3 other companies they work for? They don't know anything. They don't know anything. There's in this country, there's 18 to 23 million businesses in the US, and that's just one country. It's like, there's so many businesses and they're all very different. You can't know enough. And having someone who comes in from the outside, who has done this with a lot of other companies and has a sense of this is what's common and this is what's uncommon. And being able to, I think of it as smelling that differentiation, what makes that company different, that's the value. Now, activating it, that's harder to do. And I think you want to do that as much in-house, but sometimes you need that perspective from the outside that says, no, you think you're all about fun. Turns out you're really all about efficiency, or you're all about work-life balance, or whatever it is. And that's what people are seeing, and that's what they're resonating, and that's where the disconnect is happening, because you keep promoting how so I talked about this in my podcast. And you got to talk about what's important to the people who you're talking to. And we talk about pizza. So, Papa John's has this commercial where they made a plastic circle with an 8-circle grid. And they said, look, we care about pizza so much that we make sure that every single slice has the exact same number of toppings. And you're like, so is it delicious? Did you not talk about that? No, but it's something you can measure. And it's about, and people tend to talk about things they think are important because they can do it well and they can optimize for them and they can be focused on. If you can tell your story about how fun you are, but it turns out you're not that fun, you're going to end up telling your story about fun because it was the easy story to tell. And the fact that no one gets it, that doesn't resonate.
And you're attracting the wrong people.
Mike wants to know what your podcast is. Do you have a URL that you can just go blah, blah, blah and type that out?
It's the Talent Cast. I know it's very cleverly named. The URL is thetalentcast.com. Found everywhere you find podcast type things, pretty much at this point. So
I highly recommend it.
Okay, I'm going to go for Mike's question, which you missed while you were frozen. Has anybody tried using geo-targeting on Waze? He tried it, targeting the building of one of his competitors.
That's interesting. I haven't thought of
I use Waze. Everyone I know uses Waze. I think that's genius.
Yeah, that's smart.
I haven't used it very much because I don't drive very much. One doesn't need to in London. Okay, Elzette Forey, not the way I pronounced it, a speaker at Disrupt HR of Cape Town. Oh, I didn't know they have one there. How exciting. Last night spoke about how the best coffee machine won't keep people, but really investing in their mental health by having an on-site psychologist will make them happier and retain them. Wow. How things have changed from the 80s.
Exactly.
Wow. That's so true though, no?
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, but I think
you'd want to be a big company though.
I feel like that gets a little complicated.
If you advertise that we have a psychologist on staff to help make you happier, I feel like you're projecting other things.
And who are you targeting?
Exactly.
And multiplying.
And who would respond to that? Yes, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, who would respond to that? Who would say, yes, I need to work in a place where there's a clinical trained psychologist at close range and close proximity all the time. That feels like you're a wet lawsuit waiting to happen. But at the same time, I think
to me, there's the flip side. Like I always say, because I'm a survivor of child abuse. So before I had all of my therapy and my help and my healed, I still am a nightmare, but I was a real nightmare to manage, right? So you, James, you could say, well, like the comment Animal said to you about your hair, you could have said something like that to me and I'd start crying. And you wouldn't be expecting that. Or I could rip your jugular out. Like I would go one extreme. So in some ways, I think sometimes when you've got a team where one of your members is so defensive because they've probably been through something similar, actually having access to someone we can say, let's the both of us go and have a conversation with this person, learn how to talk to each other.
So
I don't know. I'm being very personal, but
and I think we can play that out. So let's say that circumstances happens to you and there's one or two other people in the company see value in that person and the company has the resources to hire that person. The story is not done, right? The story is, okay, now that we've supported people and they're more efficient, we went and looked at other people and we developed processes. We looked at ways people communicated. We identified that there was a lack of trust or a lack of leadership or a lack of, picket, one of those underlying things that's always the problem, but no one ever actually points to and says that's the problem. We've done a lot of research on that. Maybe you really don't identify the therapist or the psychologist as the thing, but that all the work and all the thought process that went into that to bring that person in, because then it becomes a story about we care about our employees so much, we bend over backwards and then 7 more times to make sure they're happy and professional and are productive to do what they want to do. But we've learned from that. Now the story is now entering its second generation of we grow on our problems. The meme that goes around Facebook all the time about the Japanese art of breaking something and then re-putting it back together using gold in the cracks to kind of seal it together. And now somehow it's more beautiful. Congratulations, you've just invented an employer brand. An employer meme around an employer brand. So it's about telling the story and keeping it going and not just it's not about the coffee. It's about this company cares so much about its employees and the employees cared about coffee. They went and did ends of the earth to make sure they were happy. And if that's real, that's an employer brand.
And that's when you go, because when you and I started out pre-internet, well, I'm assuming you're my age from your earlier comment, we didn't have the transparency. And I know Audra's heard this 100 times. So go to Google, run a search, HR manager jobs, London, boom, there's 16,000. I'm out of here. Now can do that. So employees are in control. So therefore, if you are looking after them and you are sharing that story, one, you'll attract more, but you'll keep more. Because then you'll genuinely go, actually, they really do look after us here. I just hadn't really realized.
Yeah, and I think that there's a reason why Brene Brown is showing up on a lot of stages in our industry about talking about bravery and vulnerability and openness, because, and to Elzette's point, it is about bringing your full self to work. If I just brought my brain to work, you'd get about 60% of me, because the craziness, the wackiness, the desire to drink more coffee than any human being should be allowed to drink, that actually feeds the brain and creates the sparks and makes things happen that, you know, that's why that happens. And you do want to bring the full, and the full person is sometimes messy and ugly and, you know, lacking, not quite so hirsute as he once was, particularly. So you got to bring the whole thing. And that means some days are rough. Yeah.
And I just think if you just get that, and I think that's what I've learned so much from my own personal experience, hence I do talk about it, is that you've got to be aware. We are all going to take that. And then that goes back to like what I do when people say, oh yeah, but Facebook's the personal network and LinkedIn's the business. Like, but you don't split your life in two like that. You go to work with it all.
Huh? I asked him about that. What's up with your Facebook page? You have 0 like recruitment people. What's that about? You just personal.
Well, it was always personal, and I kind of realized that I didn't know if anybody cared. So I kind of said, you know, rather than have the 4th platform in which I was engaging, let's stick to the ones I knew if I evolved to that one, great. But I do love the people who complain on. I just don't use it much.
I found it really beautiful, that employer branding group that Shonda asked a question because something was going to happen at work. It's a lockdown group, and all these people jumped in with all of these amazing examples and some unbelievably brilliant advice for her. And she's just sitting there going, yeah, thank you. And it would not happen on LinkedIn. That would never have happened in a LinkedIn group.
Nowhere else.
Yeah.
And I actually find it kind of funny when people still.
LinkedIn groups are dead. They're just, if they aren't officially dead, LinkedIn slowly bleeding dry.
Yeah, they should probably just.
It killed the reason loads of people came to the site, which was the groups, and they killed them.
Well, let's be fair. LinkedIn is not LinkedIn of old. I mean, its value is it's a Rolodex of everybody professional you'd ever want to meet, right? That's what it is.
Well, no, it's 500 million. It's not everyone.
It's almost everyone you'd want to meet.
There's 7 billion people on the planet. Just saying.
They're not all. Some of them are 4. So you've got all those names.
There's still more than 500 million professionals on the planet.
Yes, but some people farm. Okay, I don't know. But it's just, you got to go with me.
Okay, James. I count down. You're right. There are only professionals on LinkedIn.
Asterisk. Obviously, that's not true. Obviously, there are more people. But for this case of argument, we just need to get
just to shut Katrina up for a minute.
For the day. Okay, we just get to the day. So you have that Rolodex, and then you layer on all this functionality, like, oh, now you get to message them, and you get to find out where they work, and you get to find everybody who works at this company, and then you get job boards, and then you get groups. But the thing is that with Microsoft's ownership, job boards and Google's entrance to the field, job boards isn't what LinkedIn's going to be all about. Connections is sort of what's going to be about, but they've already started to roll out features about how to integrate it in Outlook and Microsoft products. It's going to be a big Outlook plugin. And so, the groups, it's just going to kind of fade out. I don't think they'll ever kind of say, today groups dies. They just will stop caring and feeding for them, and they just kind of wander away.
Ben has a funny comment.
What is it?
The only reason I like LinkedIn still is to see people committing career suicide by talking bollocks.
It's a fair point.
That's completely fair. LinkedIn groups have been dead for a couple of years. Yeah, they have. It's such a shame. I mean, it was, I'm group manager at the HR UK group manager. I stopped managing it. I just gave up. And if I send a bulletin out, like 1,000 people of the 15,000 get it, and that's it. That's not fair. Managers who invested hours growing the groups up.
But at the same time, if you go the other way, like a Slack group where everybody gets every message, it's very easy to get completely overwhelmed. Yeah. Any group of more than 100, 150 people, the brains in that room are going to be insane. I mean, they're going to be amazing, but no one's going to follow everybody. It's finding the balance is so hard.
Yeah, that's very true. Suicide takes a lot more than that. I don't know. The person who's referring to Mike, no. He managed
thank you. Yes. The Dunbar number. Thank you. You can only know 150 people. And then after that, they split up. Yeah, so there's a Dunbar number is the size of a team, a maximum size of a team before it naturally starts to split up into its own sub teams.
Right.
And so in corporate, that was based on research in large corporations in the 50s and 60s about how big a management structure you could get before you had to apply sub managers and that sort of thing.
Well, and it hasn't been modernized since then.
Well, do you want to hear the complaints and questions and concerns from 150 people all at once? That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. I'm just personally curious. Hopefully other people are too, but what do you think the difference is? Because I've heard so many different definitions between employer brand and recruitment marketing. I think I have an idea what I think, but I've heard a lot of.
So let's hear yours first, Audra.
Huh? Okay. I think employer brand is like the bigger picture and longer term. And I think recruitment marketing is like, okay, we need to hire 26 tech support people in Singapore. Get going. But I could be wrong. That's the thing. I hear a lot of different.
See, I would put that last bucket as recruiting. So I would see them as a spectrum of brand is the story you're telling, the way, the ideas you're trying to get across. You activate it via recruitment marketing. The recruitment marketing starts to bleed into, are you posting your jobs on Glassdoor or Indeed or LinkedIn or wherever? Where are you putting your structures? What are your channels that you're utilizing? Are you on Facebook or are you on LinkedIn or are you on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera? And then the recruiters are the ones taking the material coming in from that and leveraging it and saying, oh, we told a great story, and they pass it out to people they want to talk to. So I kind of see it that way, but trying to divide them is really tough, because when you do that, recruitment marketing becomes the important thing, because they say, oh, employer brand's just this thing. We had a project and we got our employer brand delivered last week and we implemented it. So we're done with that. And you're like, no, that's just the beginning, but you implement it through recruitment marketing. So I see kind of a fuzzy line between the two.
So like branding is the how and the why, and recruitment marketing is the what. I'm actually doing it.
Yeah. There's a little more of the how in that, but in the recruitment marketing side, but I think that's good. I would not have a problem with that. Yeah.
So if you could change one thing about companies' employer branding, besides, I'm going to tell you what that is later, and you'll be like, oh God, why would I ever want hair? Yeah, and you might blush. Anyway, just hang it up there. So
that's a very different show.
Friday, I'm about to get on a plane and feel good. But if there was one thing you could just go like, in the industry of all the employer branding I see, if there's one thing I could just change because it really pisses me off, it would be what? The biggest lesson learned, like, don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we already hit a lot of them. That's probably what the tricky part is.
Oh, there must be one. James is blushing, but you don't know what I'm going to say though.
I'm going to need a minute on that one. There's so many things that, I mean, to be fair, to be perfectly blunt, I think you pointed out earlier, we've made so many strides and we've done so much good work in the last couple of years to really catch up to do this thing. But I think HR, by nature of who HR is, by virtue of the burden we place on HR, and I come by it honestly, so I'm not disparaging anybody. They're so rules focused. Yeah. Everything is about rules, and a rule by definition, if applied once, must be applied evenly across the board, or it is not a rule. So consequently, because recruiting lives in HR usually, it has to adopt that DNA, otherwise it doesn't work. So for example, let's say you're hiring a VP of technology. This is going to be the role that changes your company, and it exponentially grows, blah, 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 super impact. And you bump into someone at a party who could be that person, and she's amazing, and you say, you know what, you should just apply online, right? Because once you apply online, we'll get you in our ATS, and then we'll have a recruiter call you, and then we will do a phone screen, and you have to take this test that we've implemented, and they've left, and they've just gone and got a drink. They've found a reason to fall.
I see that happen all the time.
I know, and any sane person would say that's crazy talk. And yet we do it all the time. You have to be able to bend the rules and say, look, there's I'm a big believer in the 80-20 rule. Your rule has to apply to 80% of people, but you have to allow for 20% of, it just doesn't apply. We got to kind of find another way. And unfortunately, what happens is in the recruiting space, the way they find that 20% is called agency. They spend it on search agencies and executive search, and they spend so much money on that 20% because they can't apply the 80% rule to those people. They know that they would bolt like scared, fawns. So they figure out, I'll just spend more money, which is like, that's money that should be baked into the stuff you do day to day, a better ATS, a better social advocacy program, a better referral program, all the things that really work.
All of it. Better tool.
Yeah. So that's
really what you're saying is step out of HR, leave HR over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, it should be part of the business decision, right? You want to grow your business by 20% next year. Where are you going to find those people?
Headhunters, animal. I don't know where you heard that in that conversation. But it's more like just put the rules to the side and do what you need to do to get the right people into your company.
Do you think recruitment will always be with HR? Do you think one day, 20 years from now, they'll be?
It's not in a lot of companies. It's not in HR. It's actually separate.
Yeah. And honestly, these complaints have happened for a long time. So I haven't seen any movement in that direction. HR is about people because companies still think people are separate from the things like the intellectual property and the development and the code and the products and all the things they launch.
Right? All of it.
They don't realize that the people are the thing. I mean,
right.
If you took Uber, which is a pretty amazing company for a particular set of reasons, and we don't want to get into the other reasons, but if you took all those people out and replaced them with a brand new set of people, would Uber still be Uber? No. So the people is the Uber, so to speak. Yeah. So the people is the thing, and to subdivide it and say, okay, you're the development team, you're the QA team, and you're the sales team, and you're the marketing team, and you're the HR team. That says the product and the thing you do is more important than the person who does it, which is not right.
Yeah, you're a man after my own heart. I say that all the time.
What's yours gonna be, Katrina? You said you were gonna share your one thing you hate. Didn't you?
The polished PR bullshit. Just fuck it. Get rid of it. Dump on it. Like just. If it's just. Yeah, you know the videos of me where people go, "Oh, I love working here. It's just great." Like, come on. I mean, hence I was going on about that video for next week. Actually, I'll send you guys the link. Oh my God, it actually moves me to tears. I've watched it 5 times and it moves me to tears. It's like, wow.
It reminds me of that.
I'm concerned about what's going to happen on stage because every time they talk about the 3 lives lost the previous year, and I'm like, it's like, yeah, bad. But that's one thing about video. Real, I would never want to work for the Met Police, like ever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's good.
And that's a good thing. And that's a message should be 98% telling people no and 2% telling people yes, you, not you, not your friend, you come here.
You know, nobody does that though. It's so rare.
Not you drink tea, but James, you'll love it. We drink coffee.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, we're out of time. I cannot believe how fast that went.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, by the way. I'm wide awake now, and I was quite grumpy earlier and tired, and I was like, I'm not sure how I was going to do this, but wow, great conversation. Thank you, everybody in the side channel. You've been awesome as usual. Next week we have Ian Hamilton, who is going to talk a bit more about like Facebook pixels and all kind of creepy stuff. So that'll be quite a lot of fun.
It's crazy. Do not miss that. Do not miss that.
Same time next week.
And truly one of the best accents in recruiting. I'll just put that out there.
One of the best. This is embarrassing. I don't know. Is he Scottish or something? I don't know his accent. I haven't.
Belfast?
Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is speaking at Disrupt HR in December.
Don't quote me.
James, but before we go, is there where can people find you? Clearly not Facebook.
Clearly not so much Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is more than anything. It's pictures of my kid who is adorable and looks like me and yet adorable somehow, which how did I miss? I was this close to being adorable, but no. I'm on Twitter at The War for Talent, and I have the podcast, the Talent Cast, and JamesEllis.us if you want me to speak someplace. That's really where it is.
At The War for Talent. And
we'll all be together at the end of January for SRS.
Party.
Everyone book tickets for that too. Come see it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a live podcast there, so maybe we can make something happen.
That'd be great fun.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James.
Thanks everybody.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.